Hello, 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 Soul Dr. Nick here. This is Thursday, October 16th, 2025, around 7:30 a.m. This is Magic Mirror Work. Thank you to Self Cosmos Ohana. Just turning down the brightness of my phone. And good, it's still recording. So that I can actually look at less EMF while I'm actually doing this. While also seeing enough of my framing that I'm like, okay, I exist still, which is good. Got my little fire pit in front of me, just got off my call with my founding partner, Matt, and really getting more and more clear. One of the funnest things is realizing I often tell him what I think should happen based on my limited knowledge of what's possible. And what he's really good at reframing is, oh, okay, what is the actual problem? Because he's thinking in terms of the client, in terms of different possibilities, because he knows different possibilities. And from there can generate a solution that I wouldn't even thought of. For example, people are able right now to book directly a video call consultation with me. And we're shifting that now so that people can actually fill out a form so that we can actually get clear on what's going on and how to serve them. Because that way there's no barrier to them filling out the form. We don't want to have any imposed barriers, only because I recognize more and more how important it is to put boundaries around my time, especially time with people that I don't know. Because, and Iris has noticed this too, it's like, why don't you want to talk to them? It's like, I don't want to talk to them because I want to have a more in-depth conversation already for our first conversation. And how do I create the conditions for that to happen? And that way I can have fewer conversations that are more meaningful. And the ones that somehow make it through are surprising. It's wonderful, wonderful surprises, and can create inspiration. I just don't need to keep repeating the same patterns. And then looking at the bigger picture, we can see that already. Oh my God, not the finished, but the next iteration that's really going to work. Okay, we've got this Ohana breath, which is really just drawing more and more people in. We've got this beautiful private work, which probably can only see about at most 24, 48 people a year in a way right now, the way I've set it up. And how do we speak to this high value thing so clearly? And how do we speak to this Ohana breath so clearly? And then how do we speak to an integration breath so clearly? And how do we speak to I'm going to say it this way, Bitcoin breath so clearly? And as well allow these things to keep evolving. What is actually serving? What do people want? What will actually serve? And do I know? No, I don't know. Do I want to know? Yes, I want to know. How do I keep coming back to themes that really serve? We'll find out. We'll find out. How is the next evolution going to look? We'll find out. We'll find out. And maybe it's just cycling through some regular themes, right? Health, wealth, family, freedom, and what's currently alive for that, right? And from these, it's like every month there's going to be something different. There's going to be a new layer, a new learning. And how do we both have that and the new learning at the same time? All right. Right now we're here at sunrise. I'm seeing the colors. I'm being reminded of the red light therapy. I've ordered the red light therapy and the PMF mat for my beloved, which is also ordering it for me, which is beautiful, and also ordering for my son. Done some clearing of some Akashic records, which is really good. And then reminder today, which really came through, is the person that most needs to hear my story is me. And it's both what my story is containing, what it's missing, what it's pointing at, what it's focusing on. And right now, one of the things I keep telling myself is how valuable my time is. And I'm saying it out loud to remind myself so that I actually make more conscious choices about my time. Even when I'm scrolling, quote unquote, mindlessly, I'm practicing scrolling in a different way without having to have an objective. Oh, I must create this level of productivity out of it. Even this video, it's for me. It's a practice of speaking, hearing, being with, and being visible enough that I'm like, you know what? Someone may see this. Unlikely. I'm going to put out so much fucking content that it's unlikely anyone can watch everything that's going on, which is kind of funny. And that's part of the problem solution, so to speak. I'm doing it on purpose, deliberately. And how many people can say they're actually generating this much content, but not actually doing it in a way where I'm like, oh, I'm live streaming me for you. I'm putting this out there and I'm recording these for me. In an ideal world, eventually, I've got someone else doing all the uploading and the planning and all that stuff. But for right now, I'm willing to do it. How do I take ownership of these things in the process? How do I create the containers that I really want to create? All right. And then how do I notice that some people are going to self-select out, and can I actually be with that? Because there's always a benefit and a cost. And sometimes the cost is people that I want to work with self-selecting out right now. And how do I have it that the people that may have an influence on generating new products or tweaking things are people that I really know? So it's not compromising, but it's trusting the tweaks with people I already know. And that's the key. And then how do I follow up people? So I'm going to follow up again with some dear friends who've been through the program to see where things are at, how they're doing, because it's really important to see where things are at, how they're doing. And then look at, what am I going to create for a follow-up program? That's part of it. What am I going to create for a possibility for traveling and doing deeper work? What am I doing for all these different possibilities and probabilities? So there's that piece. So what else is there? What else is there? What else is there? What else is there? Loving these colors in the sky. I'll be driving up to Brew Creek to work with my dear friend Judy for some of the women for a breath session. I'm excited about that. I've already started generating the playlist for the Sunday, and noticing all the back end stuff that's shifting. We've shifted so many times. First is my dear friend Andrew, this one's Daniel/veteran, and now it's shifting to Matt. How are we creating what we actually want without even realizing we're creating what we want sometimes? That's my dear friend Marika. Asking a question, not realizing the response could be outside of the parameters she thought the response would be in. Being willing to be surprised and then notice. Noticing, how do I create feedback loops that serve? So my beloved really wants to help me, wants to get feedback. I'm creating it now so the feedback's coming through Matt to her. So there's another conversation that's really going to be helpful. And as well, the feedback won't land the same way because it's not coming directly to me. He's got a way of talking with me where we're actually getting clear on each other. How do we really step into not just the profit first model, but also leverage the other things that we know? How do we leverage where we're placing the business? How do we leverage the different kinds of assets, the different kind of systems, the different kinds of automations, and really bring in the best people that we know to do this? Well, that's handling Bitcoin payments. We don't want to handle Bitcoin payments yet. We want to handle payments that automatically turn into Bitcoin. The thing we want to do is to reduce the friction points, not increase the friction points. Self-selecting, self-creating. How do we have the roles and the people that really want to fill those roles? And if they really want to fill it, then they're really going to fill it. If they don't really want to fill it, they can let it go. And part of it, if they really want to fill it, is they've got to step into things. Part of it is they know they want to step into a ceremony, depending on how close they want to get to the thing itself. And that's a piece that we'll have to take a look at. It was really important that Matt and I have done this work together. What about the team? Who actually needs to and who doesn't? Who do we want for their certain skill set that may have nothing to do with this? And that's the pieces to keep looking at. How do I keep creating this home, recreating this home, letting go of this home? So that's a big piece, is home right now for us. We're paying a significant chunk of money for a home that we're not fully using. And in the end, it's not so important that we move it so quickly. It's not cheap, but it's not so crazy expensive that it's impossible. And that's what I'm reminding myself of, because otherwise I can get lost in the details of the money. And this decision is going to make a bigger difference than I imagine. How do I support my beloved for purchases, especially, not recurring services, purchases that we may save a little bit of money, but it's really not worth the time to look into if she already knows what she wants. And I think that's the piece. And I'm looking more and more at that. It may look like I'm being frivolous, but I'm being much more clear and deliberate about things. I'm learning as I go. building off a base that I know that I want. Really good freaking car. And I've got to decide, is it going to be this Lexus GX is going to be my kind of overlanding vehicle? I saw the Jeep the other day. It's definitely not going to be that, because that has more of the technical ability, but it doesn't have the noise, doesn't have the look, doesn't have the windshield, all that stuff, the comfort. I want something that feels really good to drive in. Definitely stepping in a Lexus has just felt so good, and felt so good for the family to be in. And then from there can kit it out. And I think it is the GX, because the GX is really the one that can handle a similar kind of roof rack and handle all those things. And just breathing in and letting it go again. Breathing it in, letting it go. And just loving this process. Loving this process of life, of living. Sometimes it's like, oh, why are these the problems? Why are these the challenges? And that's a reminder. Can I make and help my family make what may seem like, that's a challenge. I don't know if we need to do that yet. It's not that important to be like, I want that to be the call of action. Someone wants to go somewhere, we want to go with them. That can be the call of action. It doesn't have to be some great tragedy or some long-standing unmet need. And so how do I look at it from that point of view, going, okay, the call to action doesn't need to be monumental. It just invites a choice. And the choice is simple. It's a yes or a no. It actually is quite simple. Where have I been saying yes when I meant no, and no when I meant yes? And part of it may be the coaching even. We're trying to rush the parasite cleanse, right? We're trying to do all these travels and we're not going to be here. That actually may be the better thing. I think it might be a no right now for the parasite cleanse, because we're going to go traveling. It won't be till we're back in town again. So I'm going to plant that seed for myself and my beloved. A 3-month parasite cleanse while we're going to all these different places may not work out so well. And I'm open to another possibility. Maybe I'm trying to run away from something, right? So, but we've got to practice being with the no to be with the yes, and be with the yes to be with the no. So in the case of going to Bali, I think it's actually being with the yes to take a look at no, because no is the actually easier, more default thing. And I'm looking at how to create the yes already, because I can strategize a little bit. I can see the possibilities. I can see, how do we make it so that it's not such a big trip every time, and not such a long trip, especially every time. And I'm speaking about Hong Kong. What else is there? I'm just breathing, letting go, and loving this life again. I'm loving the simple foods. I'm loving the insights. I'm loving the reminders, the art of spending money. I'm loving learning about the advancing technologies. I'm learning about how to actually invest in a different way, the monetary systems, the political systems. I'm learning more about my own body, health. I'm learning about things that I didn't even know were possible, whether it's different astrological events, whether it's different timelines, whether it's different energies, presences, beings. And I'm playing and weaving with all that, not making it true or false, but rather being with it and noticing. I'm looking around at all the mountains and just enjoying this place while we're still here. I know we won't be here long term, so how do I enjoy it while I'm here? And especially it keeps giving me clues, whether it's the elevator, whether it's the key fobs, whether it's the busyness of the intersection, whether it's the lack of really good food here, whether it's groceries or restaurants. And it's not really that much less dense. This is not our home. So where's our next home? And how do we keep creating it? How do we keep creating it in a way that serves? And how do I have conversations with my folks? I'm going to write down a bunch of Post-its and just have conversations with them and see which ones land, see which ones they're interested in. What else is there? So many things. Writing down the expenses. Clearing and cleaning things up, not leaving a bunch of money in the accounts, and trusting that it's going to keep flowing. Great reminder. And I really appreciate Matt, because he looks at things differently than me. And every time I think I'm trying to control something, I realize, am I actually trying to control it, or I'm telling him what I normally do, so that he can tell me what's actually possible and we can actually make a real choice, rather than the default. Right now I've got to be with this naked phone, which is kind of crazy. I've had this naked phone for, wow, like 5 days. I think it's fully transferred over. I'm excited to transfer over my beloveds onto my old phone. I think she's gonna be really happy with the upgrades, and pretty soon it's gonna become normal, and it's okay that it becomes the new normal. These devices aren't meant to make us think, wow, it's so exceptional. And that's my practice, keep looking, going, wow, this is exceptional. Like, and then translating from there, like this device literally couldn't even be imagined 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago. And then what else is in my life that I couldn't imagine? Like these fire bowls. I didn't know what they were the first time I went camping. I'm just trying to think of where it was. I remember it now and I don't remember it either. I remember walking along the river. I remember that campsite now. It was definitely with my dear friends Yvonne. And I was like, what is this dancing fire bowl or something like that? And then now recognizing these things exist, and like, not that it replaces a real wood fire, but man, it is nice right now to have this warmth that's so easy to access and so real and so burning and moving energy. And I really enjoy that I'm connecting with the elements differently. Again, I'm saying these words for myself. I forget. And why I remind myself every time I forget is just a reminder. I'm noticing my own words. I'm noticing these birds. I'm noticing that I'm letting go of my ability to say, I know how to do things. I'm doing a few eye exercises and stretches at the same time. I'm moving more when I'm on calls, going, okay, how do I not just stay still and static? Because that's not my job. And what is my job? What is it for me? And noticing when the house gets really, got really messy there yesterday at some points. And I was tired too. So how do I be with the fatigue? How do I be with the fact that my son wants to wake up earlier? But I'm like, part of me is like, I don't want you to wake up too early because then daddy's got to deal with things. And I'm just like, okay, let it go, let it flow, let it shift. How do I have my mornings the way I want them and everything else? How do I create the family, familial environments, knowing that things may shift? Knowing that we may do less flying in the near future. So I think it's setting ourselves up for success. We may come back from this trip and be like, all right, what do we do now? Where do we go now? How do I get them to have an EMF meter and check it out as well? How do we take a look at what we need to do for health the best way possible? Really good water, really good food, really good air, really good EMF. And I'll write these things. I'll write these things and I'll let them go. I don't need to create a group chat for it. That's just another thing that I want everyone to see, but they don't all need to see it all at once. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ciao for now.